I didn't know if there was enough seats.
Oh. Okay, well, welcome everybody. I am Joseph Trimble Finlayson. I was born here in Oak City. My mom and my dad are George and Susan Finlayson, who immigrated as pioneers in the 40s. They went to Fillmore first. They had 2 kids there. Then they moved to Oak City and had the other 7. They had the other 7 here. So, where should I begin my story? So I guess we just pioneer life, growing up here in Oak City, and my father was he was the first mail route man, and he went from Oak City through the Sinks over to Lyndall, and then up to Leamington, and then across the Fool Creek and back to Oak City. So we got to know a lot of the people through there, and over the years, I used to go with my dad because I loved to meet everybody, to greet everybody, see the different people, and I just learned to really have a passion for different people and for what's going on, and saw what my dad was doing, and he ended up owning a farm in every one of those places all the way around.
Oh wow, really?
And then and so then I guess with that I kind of wanted to learn more and be educated, and my dad supported that. And so my brothers and my sisters all kind of stayed here and lived the pioneer life, but I went to Salt Lake, graduated from high school there, got an education. When I came back, I went on a mission to the eastern states, and then when I came back from the mission, I picked up more studies and got kind of what you would call a law degree, and then I started writing my neighbor.
My name is Edith Elzina. I'm not exactly sure how to say it. My name is Edith Lyman Finlayson, and I grew up in Oak City. My parents were Fred and Ann Lovell Lyman. My grandmother was Caroline Ely Lyman, so that will have you kind of a connection. But I grew up in Oak City, and I was an only child. My parents didn't have any other children, but 2 of my mother's nephews came to live with us. Their mother died, and so I had 2 sort of brothers growing up. But I loved my parents. We loved being together. We had a great relationship. I clerked in my father's mercantile for a while, and then I actually went to school in Provo as well with my cousin Mamie Lovell. And when I graduated, or while I was up at school, Joe started writing me, and at first I got the letters were dear friend, and towards the end of my schooling they became my dear Edith. So when we got home and we got together and we were married October 8th, 1908, and we made our home here in Oak City. Today our home stands down on the corner of, if you know where Garth lives right now, it's just west of Garth. It's where DJ and Birdie.
On the other corner, where the red house is, right there. Yeah. And she grew up across the street from there, where Diane Porter used to live.
Yeah. So but the home that we built together is the red and white brick one that's on that corner. There's actually a plaque that still says Joe T. Finlayson. So, and we had our four boys. 4 boys there, Burns and Fred, and then we had a daughter, Anne, who passed away at about a year, and then Joseph and Rich.
And then Elizabeth.
Well, that was
in that
Remember? But we did have 2 girls, Elizabeth and Susan.
So in that little short bit of time, I got called to be the bishop here in Oak City after Peter Anderson. And then my father passed away at that time, and about 7 years later, me and my brothers decided maybe it was time that we split up our ranch and farms and things. So we met at the milk barn, which is today, if you go to the Logan Ag book for dairy and stuff, that milk barn is in that book still. And if that barn's still standing, if you know where Dwayne Finlayson's milk barn was, or right across the street from Lane Nilsson, that big barn right there, that was it. So we met there, and we just decided how we'd split it 5 ways, and we would split all 5 ways. Anybody would be happy with any of the fifths, no matter what. What? The farm and the ranch. Yeah. Sorry, didn't make that clear. So how we would split the farm and ranch, and we had it split 5 ways. So then we just did, and then after we kind of traded around and did things, so that I ended up going to Leamington for a couple of reasons. One, all my brothers and sisters had big families here. Well, Edith was an only child. It made more sense maybe that we went there. And it had some advantages too, because Severe River was a little better water. So we traded around with my brothers, and we ended up over there. And they all stayed over here and didn't have to do the travel.
Our first home was in the old, what did you call it? Where the men would come and noon their horses and rest there. So that was our first home, and it lacked terribly, but we made it. We got to work right away on our house plans, and after 2 years, we moved into the home that's there in Leamington now, is where Spence Butler lives, if you know where Spence Butler lives, or it's next to the bridge that everybody will go down the bridge to get into the river right there and swim. That's the home right there. It has a great big beautiful porch, and we love to sit out on the porch and watch the swimmers come down and listen to the evening sounds and watch the sunset and sunrise and listen to the water, even the trains. We love to be outside and sit on our porch.
And my brother Jeff lived just across the street, right there. So we just went to farming and raising a family, and I got called to be in the stake presidency. My father-in-law was in the stake presidency, and I replaced him. I was there for like 7 or so years, and then I got called to be the stake president. And so I did that, and then that's about when I lost Edith.
Well, you know, I used to love what Joseph. I forgot your name for a minute, honey. Joseph, being a little shy, you know, he was the superintendent of Millard Schools. He was the president of a bank. He was instigated an irrigation company. He was got the telephones in the first telephone company as president of that here. He was in the state presidency in the bishopric. He ran the farms and the ranches over in Leamington. We had our family. We had a small, we had 15 cows that every morning if he was home, and if he wasn't, you can guess who did it, but they would say, "It's time, boys." And so the boys would get up and go milk these 15 cows and put it through the strainers, and we would sell the cream on the train up to Salt Lake, and that's how we made money through those Depression years, or right in those 20s. And but I love to take the kids also up the canyon. My dad worked up at the sawmill up there, so I love to go up and take the kids on picnics and walk by the creek and see all the flowers. I loved flowers, had lots of flowers in my yard, and loved to give flowers to people when they would come to visit us, send them with a bouquet. But I got sick and went to Salt Lake in 1932. I was 53 years old, and our youngest, Susan, was 12, and I had surgery, but I didn't make it home. She passed away up in the hospital in Salt Lake, and
So then like 3 years later, I married Ruth Rosengreen, and she was a school teacher here, and I was the what do you call it again? Superintendent. School superintendent. And anyway, so we both knew her before then. So I knew her then 3 years later, so we ended up getting married. And we lived together, married we never had any kids. She was like 43 when they got married, 45, something like that. And so they never had any children, but when he died at, I think, 84 years old, that's what he was, she lived on there for about 3 more years, and then she moved to Salt Lake for about 17 years more before she passed away. So, do you have any questions?
But
oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. What are you saying? The our children wanted to, they wanted to honor their mother, Edith. And so they created a foundation or a scholarship that we think they still award to this day down in Delta, a $1,000 scholarship. And the way that you can earn it is they pick a female, they pick a girl, and she has to qualify, and they ask her questions and things, but they want to know if she's a lady and if she is kind or compassionate, and these different things that they interview her for. And when they give her the award, they will say, you know, so and so, you're being given this in honor of Edith Lyman Finlayson because you are compassionate and you are kind and you are lovely, and they award someone that reminds them of their mother. And I thought that was a great way to pass on her legacy and still remember her.
Any questions?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it took your father to do the postal route through all these little towns?
They just did it every day.
Like how many hours? Like, do you know, was it a whole day? Because that's quite a ways.
It would take about all day.
Yeah. Okay.
I've rode most of it on a horse. But they had the buggy.
Did your children accept your second wife?
Yeah, they were always really appreciative. It was really good.
She was very kind. She made quilts for everybody. They loved her.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She just threw her whole heart into the kids because his family was her family. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Now, are you guys related to them?
I am Josh, a descendant of Josh Finlayson, who was a brother to Joe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great nephew, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys do that.